Thank you. Thank you. I always forget. I always forget. So it should be fixed now. I unmuted it, but it's always like a 10, like about 15, 20-second delay. Yeah, there it is. All right. But yeah, it says, can you go in depth why women don't respect nice guys? Well, for real, in my opinion, is more like is my opinion also with historical biological fact is throughout the vast majority of human existence, woman has not been able to protect herself for too long or build anything up herself of much value. So when a woman searches for a mate, she wants a mate that she feels like can and will protect her in some kind of way to fulfill that biological need that's been built up for fucking 300,000 years, right? Has nothing to do with feminism in the last 50 years. This is a woman's need for a male protector. So so when a woman doesn't respect a nice guy, when a woman usually wants somebody who's an asshole, say, like, okay, and a guy who's an asshole in some kind of way or is not a nice guy in some kind of way. What's up, Jen? When a guy is not nice, that signals that this person can protect themselves, right? They can, they have some ability to protect themselves and potentially protect other people. If somebody's being nice, I mean, yeah, nice is like nice, but there's nothing about being nice alone that says like, yeah, this motherfucker can, when shit gets rough, I put my chips on him to fight his way out, right? And I think that's why that's really deep down. That's why women don't like nice guys. Now, in society, women always try to like measure themselves up with value, and the only thing that's really of value is men, right? If you really break down into on like a real deeper, oh, no, you're not even that deep of analysis, just a general to a deeper analysis. The only real value to humanity, like in terms of actually building and progressing the better shit and keeping the species alive, is men, right? That's it. So when a woman tries to, any and every time a woman attempts to evaluate where her value is, it's always it's okay. Every woman can always deduce it down to what kind of man can I attract, right? And to prove that point, like I use in examples, I've used in examples in the past. If you take the Queen of England, right, and you stand her up next to, let's just say, Dua Lipa, because I don't know any female celebrities, or Scarlett Johansson when she was in her prime. Maybe I'm saying boomer shit now, but you get what I'm trying to say. You take the Queen of England, right? 5, 10 years before she died, she was still an old woman who wasn't the prettiest because she was old, right? Is what it is, right? You take the Queen of England, she's the Queen of England, right? And you stand her up next to fucking Dua Lipa, right? Now here's the thing. When it comes to being women, Dua Lipa is not going to be jealous of the Queen of England because she's the Queen of England. She's not going to be. There's nothing about that triggers jealousy among women, right? Right. What triggers a jealousy? The Queen of England would be jealous of Dua Lipa because Dua Lipa is fuckable. Is relatively speaking, more highly fuckable than the Queen of England ever was, right? So the Queen of England, even though she's the Queen of England, right? She, in terms of being woman and winning as a woman, let's not even say Dua Lipa. Let's just say like random bitch who works at the coffee shop, right? That's just kind of cute, but she's like 23. She's winning at woman better, right? Because the cute bitch at the coffee shop knows that there's at least 6 or 7 guys that come in every day that want to fuck her, right? And that's where her deeper value lies. Now, on the flip side, let's say like with men, right? With men, we start out life doing that. And I think in recent times, things have changed so much in technology, and over the last 20 something years, men have gotten to be a lot more desperate. But when I was a kid growing up, like I said, before this online dating and the internet like changed the whole game up, like men would essentially kind of grow up wanting a woman to do all this, but at some point, men usually will finally grow out of it, right? At some point, men grow out of having to chase a woman, need a woman out, because when shit gets real in life, right? A woman needs a man to feel like she's protected, right? Whereas a woman does not protect a man. So like there's no like once a guy gets it out his system to fuck a lot, right? Or he's been around enough women and he's dealt with enough women to see what they're really like. The guy usually grows out of it a lot faster, right? So the guy can so once he gets older, he just the man kind of finds himself ending up being desirable as he ages, just because he's either got wisdom, he's amassed money, or something. Either he's amassed money or he's amassed wisdom. So this is why man can always end up kind of selling as man as he gets older, whereas woman can't sell as she gets older. Like the Queen of England could not sell herself as a woman. She couldn't do it. It's just she wouldn't. I mean, there's always some guy who would just be like that desperate or something like that. But in the whole scheme of things, the Queen of England she couldn't win as woman. She wasn't. She never. I mean, I didn't think she was too bad when she was younger. How she looked when she was younger, but when it comes to winning as woman, woman's time frame is much smaller of being able to succeed. What's up, Ragarana? What's up, man? Portuguese Mac Pow. These females are the reason men are going Mac Pow. I still know what that is. I mentioned that before. I have no idea what that is. But yeah. Long story short, women treat nice guys like shit. Is because she sees ultimately women. Long story short, women treat nice guys like shit because there's nothing about being nice that signals I can protect you, when shit gets real rough and hard and difficult in life, right? Like, meaning, on the other side of it is like, now there's different balances too, right? So let's say like Elon Musk, for example, could be an asshole and still get pussy, right? Because he's Elon Musk, right? So he has a name and all that. Now Elon is he's not in the best of physical shape, right? But he has money. So like there's some women who can just believe in his money and be his personal whore whenever he wants it, right? Just because of that. Whereas other women, money may not mean as much as maybe just have like the mental swagger or the physical ability to win his way in wars and fights and battles, shit like that, right? So every woman's built a little different. Every woman's not completely the same. And in many cases, it comes from where she comes from. Like, for example, where I grew up, I grew up in Ohio, and unless you were in that group of successful people, which I wasn't in Ohio, pretty much your only option to become any success is to join the military, right? And this is where I come from, my hometown, my home culture. Should I more specify? My culture of where I come from. They're just growing up as a kid. There wasn't any ways out. Like the world existed. Like I told my ex-wife this. Growing up in Ohio, like I would rather believe the moon exists long before Czech Republic exists, because I could look up in the sky and I could see the moon. I can't look over somewhere and see that Czech Republic exists, right? And that's just kind of like the overall theory of everything that was bigger coming from a place like Ohio. Like, you could read about it. You could read about Czech Republic in a book. You can see, well, now you can see things on YouTube about Czech Republic in a book, but Czech Republic really doesn't exist to you until you see it, right? Like, these things don't really exist until you actually see it, type of shit. You can seriously prove it, right? And the overall theory of where I grew up at was like that. So the guys where I grew up at, like I said, unless you were born into a family who was going to who you were lucky, or you were born to a family where you became friends with somebody whose family went to college or something like that, you just had no hope. Your best hope was to work in a factory, maybe a warehouse, these type of things. From where I come from in Cincinnati, Ohio, that was about the best you could really count on, right? Maybe become like a manager in a warehouse. That'd be like the height of it, right? And it was almost like you had to play dumb just to fit in with people there, because everybody was too afraid to try something new, right? Now, with the women who also grew up in these areas, these women are going to go after guys in the military because they're facing the same struggles. Well, at least how I grew up, because this was long before the days of Instagram and OnlyFans and shit like that, right? So when a girl was coming up, if a guy was in the military, he automatically had first dibs on the hot bitch in the neighborhood, at work, whatever, right? If a guy was, because that military represented the ability to travel, he represented a steady check. He represented, connections with the government. He read that the military connection represented. So that class of woman, right, would fuck with you if you were in the military. I still remember one time I was eating lunch with a friend of mine. He had just got back from doing boot camp, and he's still with his wife now. They've been together for a long time. Actually, I remember when he first started dating her. And we were sitting down eating. We were always cool. Me, him, and her. We were all, as far as I know, we were always cool. And so one of his wife's girlfriends, like female friends, she came and hung out, and she was cute. She was, because she was a really attractive girl. So attractive girls only hang around attractive girls, right? It's just women always do it, right? So her friend came and sat down with us, and the girl was like, all off putting and all this and ridiculous and wasn't really talking. And then it came out that I was getting ready to go to the military, and she immediately changed her whole tune up, right? Because it was that class of woman who will look up to that, right? So the reason why I even brought that up was just to go into like every woman's not going to be the same because of the class of where they grew up at and what they've been exposed to and what they know, right? So where I come from in Ohio, like, okay, here's the thing. If I go back to Cincinnati, Ohio, right, being how I am now, right? Well, I did go back, and it happened. Girls who were originally out of my league, it happens even here. Once a woman hears about my life, then in most cases, their entire demeanor changes, right? The entire demeanor changes. Because usually, like either my friends will tell them, or they'll kind of figure it out, or something like that, right? That I'm not just like a regular dude working in a warehouse, right? Which I don't have anything against a regular dude working in a warehouse, but women will, right? But it's respective of that woman's position. So like Melania Trump is not gonna be impressed by a military guy. I mean, she might have some little deeper fetish for it, but she's not gonna be like, she's not gonna go miss. She's not gonna miss an appointment to go sneak off with him, right? Because she's above that. It's the women who grew up in them blue collar areas. Those are the women who's working at Hardee's. The women who might work the women who will work lower end desk jobs, like secretary, shit like that. Pretty much those women. Maybe you'll find some women with the bachelor's degrees and a master's degree here and there who might fuck with it, right? But usually those women will have come from like where I came from, kind of thing. But anything higher than that, no, those women ain't touching. I mean, that's not going to be a selling point. Right? Anything higher than that is not going. Military is not going to be a selling point to them. So it's all in relation, like what they're looking for, and the mixtures of what they're looking for. It also plays a major part into it. But yeah, and the typical like, oh my god, like, oh, you're an American thing happened again today. So I went to get this. Some app checked on my phone at the post office, like register my address, and So I get to the desk, right? And it's this one, well, it's this woman working there. And she's like immediately just starts speaking Czech. And I was asking her, can you speak slower? Because, like, because you're speaking too fast. It's not my language. And then she switches over to speak English, right? And could barely even be bothered with that. Like, couldn't even, like, she was half-ass speaking English at that. So she asked, why I need, she goes, why I need identification. And so I pull out my passport and show her, and she's seen the United States of America, and her entire face like changed. She's like, oh, like, and her entire mood, demeanor, immediately changed like that. So now I know I don't fucking like her. I never will, because I hate when they do that. Now here's the thing. I really do like Europe for many reasons. I do like Czech Republic for many reasons, but the one thing that I find completely disgusting, and it's not just Europe, I think it's really like a lot of the world, um, is how, and this I think this is something that Americans don't really know exists, is how the world will treat you based off what country you're from, right? Like I think that's so disgusting. I think it's fucking disgusting how people will treat you completely better or worse because of what country you come from. I think it's fucking disgusting, right? Um, but being, I was explaining to a few people like how it works like with Americans with this. Like if you go to America, right? Americans, now this I think where the kind of being like a dumb American ends up working out better. Like Americans will be like afraid of other ethnicities, nationalities, but when completely pushed into it, they'll fuck around and say, "Well, I guess I like tacos now." If they get pushed up front, if it gets pushed in their face with it, right? Whereas like with me being over here, it's pretty much like the opposite. It's like unless you come from a richer country, it's almost like the opposite. And I feel like North America is really ahead with this with xenophobia. Even though like the Americans, we got the thing of like Americans don't like Mexicans or Middle Eastern or Muslims, that shit. But the world has an issue with Muslims though. If the country's not Muslim, then they got a problem. They got a problem with it. But because I hate to use the term Middle Eastern, because the Middle Eastern is kind of like, I think the term Middle East is kind of shitty because it's Middle East, to Europe. Like but it's not. I don't like to use the term Middle East because I just think the Middle East is just. I think it's a pretentious way to refer to that area. But but yeah, when it comes to the xenophobia shit, I really think I think North America is definitely it's definitely better than Europe is for sure. For at least the little bit of areas that I've seen in Europe, definitely far better. Um, but yeah, how the world treats you based off what country you come from. If you come from a rich country or a poor country, I think it's fucking disgusting. I think it's ridiculous. And just because I win doesn't mean I'm happy about it. Um, I think it's fucking gross. Like, because okay, here's the thing. The only reason why Americans would treat somebody from a foreign country better. Okay, let me start off with this. Let's start with the bad. The reason why I would generally say why North American would treat. Okay, the only countries people that North America might treat a little fucked up and funny. Well, Indians get it. Indians get it rough wherever they go because their culture is just a bit like standoutish, and it's fucked up. But Indians, they get it wherever they go, either directly to their face or behind closed doors. But outside of that, in North America, I would say Mexicans and any type of person that you think is like from the Middle East that dress a little different, kind of shit like that. Those are the only groups that really get it. If the person's not from any of those countries, then they have a good chance, if not guaranteed, to be looked highly upon. Because they must, if they're from like Europe, oh, they're just a god at that point. If the person's from Germany or France or something like that, the person is automatically a god to North Americans immediately. Africa might get Africans like black Africans get it they can get it a little too. I'm not gonna lie about that. They get it's a little rough for them. I always forget to bring that up. Actually, I'm hanging out with a friend of mine. I'm supposed to hang out with him today, but I'm just not in the mood. I'm hanging out with a friend of mine tomorrow from Nigeria. Actually, the conversations we have about Nigeria is wild, man. 'Cause this dude is like, the conversations me and him have about Nigeria is fucking wild shit. Wild shit. Actually, bought him duck last time he went out. We went to go eat. So I bumped into him at the train stop, man. Like completely randomly. I was like walking around Prague. I said, you know what? I said, and this is the beauty about living in Europe or like Prague. You could just, like, especially if you live in a city or next to a train, I was literally just walking around. I said, you know what? I think I'm gonna just go to I'm just gonna catch a train and just go to some random village and get some ribs. Right? And so I went to the train station because it's two of them. Strasselmeyer or whatever the fuck. I went to that one and I was sitting there waiting on the train. And here he come walking up like randomly at the train stop, and we end up hanging out. But that's the beautiful part about Europe, man. Like you can catch you a train or a bus for $10 and be off into some village somewhere, and you know what I mean, and it's not gonna break the bank, dude. Like, here's the thing, because people on social media, they'll be trying to sell you this shit, trying to infer it's like something expensive and all this. Look, dude, in Europe, you can catch you a train or a bus for about $5 to $10 and be off in some village you ain't ever seen before, and you know what I mean, and get you some beer and some ribs and just walk around the village. And you know how many times I do that? And I take pictures of it when I do it. But I was getting ready to post something on Instagram, and I thought, you know what? Like, I just don't like sharing everything about my life. Like, because I took a bunch of pictures when I went to one. And I just don't like sharing everything about my life. Right? Some things I just want to keep to myself. Like, in terms of, like, pictures or maybe even talking about it. But that's where Europe is beautiful. The trains are great, and the prices are great. So people on social media be going these little, if they into that, man, like people will sell it to you like they spending all this money, and no, it's not expensive at all to do it. Right? As an Indian American who lived in America and born in New Zealand, wow, you're born in New Zealand. Okay, I really never faced racism besides getting roasted in middle school a lot. Most foreign Indians get a lot of heat though. Yeah, Ron. One thing that would always kind of come up is now I never noticed it till somebody brought it up. They said a lot of Indian people, like a lot of Indian guys, always walk in packs, and I never noticed it until I was living in Chescalipa, and there was a lot of Indians who moved to Chescalipa like seemingly overnight. And that's because Bombardier had a factory. I forget. I think they make trains. Because a friend of mine, he's from Belgium. He was always flying back and forth from India for his job. Always, he's probably there now. He's always flying back and forth from India. He says whenever he goes there, he gets some beautiful flat, all this shit. But yeah, one thing. But I forget who he brought that up. But one thing is that how Indian guys always travel in packs. And another thing is, I guess since things can be so expensive, then now correct me if I never been to India, so I'm just parroting what the fuck I heard. And the same thing even with like older Czech people can also do the same thing. Like the concept of deodorant and antiperspirant can be seen as feminine. Because supposedly, like, let's say, for example, like with the old Czech population, they grew up in a time where they had no money. So, like, anything like deodorant and antiperspirant was expensive. That was like in the realm of perfume for bitches. And bitches always get perfume, right? So they view like antiperspirant and the older Czech population, and even some of the younger population, but especially the older populations, they view pretty much like personal hygiene as feminine. They view it like as fag shit. So they choose not to. Even though deodorant is like $1 at the store here, they still choose. There is a group, but I don't say a group, like a part of the population who choose that. Now I've heard it could be the similar thing for India with like hygiene and shit like that. Like for one reason or another, they just say fuck it. Like now, I've never come across like specifically speaking, I've never come across any person that I can think of that smelled funny or something like that. The only group of Indian people that I met, it was some kids. I was walking down in the city, and no, but it's happened a few times. But I'm thinking about these kids now. They just came up to me and asked me, "Hey, do you know where this is?" And they showed me a picture, and there was a picture of where this dude like burned himself alive, but it was just a cross on the street of where he did it. It's in Prague. It's in front of his museum, right? But the one thing I always notice is, man, whenever I talk to Indian people, especially in Prague, they're always like super fucking nice. Like super fucking nice. Like super fucking nice kind of thing. I have never met an Indian person who was rude. I'm sure they exist, but I've never come across it. I'm sure assholes, all that shit exists, but I've never seen it. Probably because probably by the time they come here, like you got to be on something, you got to be moving. There's probably no time for that. Bombardier makes trains in private. Oh, okay, yeah, on Nasty. Okay, yeah. Bombardier, yeah, because there's one in Cheska. It's a factory up there in Cheska. Because I remember so I say his name, Bram. We were hanging out. Me and Bram was hanging out. He's Belgian. And we was hanging out at the friend of mine's bar. It was like literally not even a 10-second walk from my old flat. I think I showed it to you guys on Google Maps a long time ago. And we'd always hang out there. And Bram's boss came in. Now Bram's boss could understand me, but he couldn't speak English, right? So we all was hanging out and laughing and shit. It was me, Bram. This time it was me, Bram, and his boss was sitting at the table. But his boss was cool. It wasn't like, oh, this is my boss. We just having a beer, chilling, right? And then like halfway through the conversation, he asked me if I wanted a job. I said, no, bro, I'm too lazy for that. I mean, he see what's dead serious. He asked like, hey, you want a job? Like, well, he had to have Bram translated, but he said, he's like, you want a job, right? I said, no, I'm too lazy. I ain't ready to do that. I got to be up. I got to get up at fucking, you mean to tell me I got to get up at 7 a.m. I got to get up at 6:30, 7 a.m., take a shower, get clothed, go somewhere, right? Okay, yeah, go somewhere, right? And then listen to other people's bullshit. Right? And on top of that, I got something I got to do, right? And do that for 8 fucking hours and then come back home, right? After I've been somewhere for 8 hours. Right? I mean, whatever little hobby I got, because I was gone for 8 hours already, right? So I don't got enough time to really get into any hobby I like. And then I got to go to sleep and get up and do the same thing the next day? No. It's got to be a better way than that, bro. No. It's got to be another way. You tell me I got to do that again tomorrow? And you got to do it for 5 days a week? You got to do it for 5 days a week forever? Fuck no. There's another way, bro. There's got to be another way than that. There's got to be something else. There's got to be something else. I got to move. I got to go somewhere. Something. I got to do that. I have to do that tomorrow. I got to get up. And okay, here's the thing. When I come back home, I know I got to get up tomorrow and do the same shit over again. No. I'm not doing it. I did it when I was younger, because I thought I was supposed to do it. And also I didn't have any money, so I kind of had to do it when I was younger. But no, I'm not gonna say I never do it, but look, things would have to get real bad before I do that. 5 days a week, and then you get the weekend off. But as soon as you get rejuvenated, you got to go back and do this shit all over again. Like what? No, with a capital K. No. Woo. Mm-mm. No. I got part time's not bad. I would do a part time job. I think part time would be cool. I am an advocate for part time work. I'm a strong advocate for part time. I would strongly advocate working 4 hours a day, something like that, 4 to 5. I would say 5 hours max. 8 hours in one day is just too much. And I've always said that. I think 8 hours in one day is just too long. I think that's too long of a time for 5 days a week. Maybe you did like 1 day or 2 days a week. Then it'd be even, I think it'd be all right. But no. Mm-mm. I live in Manchester, England, Slovakia. I live in Manchester, England, Slovakia, and Romania are my man. I live in Manchester. Oh, okay. Slovakian, Romanian. Okay, yeah. Jaeger War quiz. Yeah, man. Yeah, it's wild how the world does that, man. How they look down on like poor. Look, if they roasting Slovakians, then they roasting Czechs too, because they was one, and many will argue they still are. If they roasting Slovakians, then they roasting all. If they okay, if they roasting Slovakians and Romanians, then everybody's getting it at some point. Though that's just the two that's on the tip of everybody's tongue, but all of it's the same shit to them. When I was in Scotland, I was hanging out with my ex-wife's friends. They were married, right? And we was hanging out with her friend, the wife. The dude was cool. We were supposed to play chess, but we never got around to playing chess. But I was out in Edinburgh, and she flat out told me, she goes, yeah, out here, because we were talking about racism, right? And she goes, because she was Czech, and she goes, yeah, like like if they see my last name on an application, they're just not gonna hire me because she has a Czech last name, right? And she knew it. It was one of them things. Like it's one of them things, that's out there, openly known and shit like that. Here's the thing. I'm kind of curious as to how like the racist in a place like the UK would view like what I want. Here's the thing. I want to find some type of documentation that shows the rankings of like if he's African American and he was clearly like born in North America, or are they from like Romania? Like, how does that equal up? And it should be crazy. Like, I would love to fucking hear. I would love to see it, man. I would love to see like how that ranking happens to them. Because as an American, like we see like I see shit based off of like living there, right? So and then I think there's a whole lot more dynamics that's happening there. Whereas like the UK had and Europe on a whole had a whole different set of issues over time, right? But they've also been influenced by North American media, and like everybody knows, North American media is the dominant media of the world. If North America makes a movie and it gets popular, everybody's gonna know the actors, actresses, locations, clothes, shoes, everything like that, right? But if you make a Czech movie, well, nobody's gonna watch that shit, right? Right? It's just nobody's gonna, very few people may watch it. So there's no real influence on like, America's media is number one. So everybody is influenced in some way, shape, or form by American media. Just how it is, right? But the interesting thing to watch is and to kind of pay attention to is how that perception is different from like Americans' perception of it. But yeah, let's start on this video, man. This is 8/11. This is dating Laurel. I remember this girl from a while back because she said she was selling. I think she's selling her plans for like $500 or something like that, or $5,000 or something crazy. But I guess she's still trying it. But here's the thing. One thing that I do know is this. As a if you being a dating coach for a woman, for women, being a dating coach in general, one, I think is bullshit. And I've always said, I think pickup artists, dating coaches, I've always been open about that opinion. I think it's all bullshit. I think, yeah, I think it's bullshit. But to actively do that for women and men, I think the reality of it is it's going to come down to just targeting people with who are willing to spend hundreds and thousands to talk themselves into believing that you can help them. Because here's the thing: in professions like this, and in business, in many forms of business, the reality of it is most earnings. I would say in a decent amount of businesses or any field like this, what keeps these people afloat and trying is either one, they're only doing it on YouTube, so you don't have to pay any rent on YouTube, and two, um, they usually only have one or two or three major contributors. So here's the thing: when I would study about cults, because I've always been interested in cults, right? And that's kind of why, and I think that's kind of why my channel did kind of die off too, is because here's the thing: I've studied so much about cults that I think that I have a decent understanding into starting my own cult. I think I would know how to do it, because I've always been interested in it. But here's the thing: even with cults, it's usually only 3 or 4 people actually keeping the cult alive, right? And everybody else is just kind of like just there, like as like a following to just like maybe they're looking for purpose in life or something like that. There's only about I'd say 3, maybe 4 max major investors that's keeping all that shit, whether it's businesses, dating coaches, psychiatrist offices, whatever the fuck. It's usually about 2 or 3 that's actually keeping it open, and everybody else is just like the worker bees of it kind of thing. I forgot my train of thought, but yeah, but by the time a woman is doing this and she keeps coming back to doing it, it's getting rough. Let's start this. Let me make sure I didn't miss a comment. Even Canadian to some people in England can't even tell the difference between American and Canadians. Well, yeah. I think America. Well, I think I had one woman actually tell me this. That America and Canada is like New Zealand and Australia. Like for the people who's there, like they immediately know they're not the same shit. But like people who aren't there usually can't tell the difference. They, it's like it's all just one mesh of things to them. Jim Jones a lunatic. Yeah. Well, yeah. Oh, that's where I was going. Yeah, I got really into what's that shit that Allison Mack from Smallville she joined, and the dude who was actually running that cult, he only had like one major. He ended up having one contributor who was like a trust fund baby, and she would just send him like $3 million here, $8 million there, and they say if it wasn't for that one contributor, his cult would have died off like 10 years ago. But he had that one woman she was a trust fund baby, and she would just send him 3 million, 2 million, 8 million. He needed some millions. Well, she'd give it to him, and he would fill her head up with you're doing good jobs, you do it, but the fight's still there. It's a typical cult leadership, and it worked. His name was like Kyle, some shit. What was his name? Let me look up. Yeah, Nixium. Nixium is how you say it? It was this shit. Nixium. Nixium. Was it this? Yeah, Keith. There it is over here. Hang on. This is Keith. But that's the thing. Like, most, especially cults who get a lot of money. Most of that money is really coming from, like, I'd say 3 to 4 people at max. It's never much more than that. It very rarely is it really ever much more than that. It's usually 3 or 4 top people. But I was always really interested in cults, man. I was just always interested in how people could just listen to something and just believe it, right? Or talk. Or I was also always interested in how people can just talk themselves into believing into something, right? It's always been interesting to me, like, how people can, like, not necessarily the cult leader, but just like the people who, like, when you really see them talk about it and they're just like vulnerable, just like how I don't want to say naive. I feel like naive is the wrong word, but I don't even know the proper word to use. But there's a certain, like, almost sadistic feeling I get when I watch, like, like people who were in cults talk. It's like this weird, like, sadistic pleasure I get from watching them. Like, I really feel like I could be a cult. I really feel like I could do it, and I feel like I'd be a good one because I genuinely like listening to people who were in any type of cult. Like, it's this certain frequency or wavelength. I don't even know how to even explain it, but, like, when they get on this, like, like, there's this weird, like, arousal that I genuinely think I could do it. But to be honest, I would employ the exact opposite for my YouTube channel, right? I would see where they would do XYZ, blah blah blah, blah, and I would intentionally do the opposite for you because I don't want to be a cult leader because ultimately I know I'd be fucking people over. Period. Ultimately, actually, so I'm just happy with my dad where I could have fucked him over because he didn't even realize it. Long story short, because I got no money in North America right now and I needed the cash in America, he put a decent amount of money in my bank account, right? And he completely forgot about it. I said, I still got to send you the money back. I got to get it through here and get it back over there. And he was like, no, well, no, you don't. You don't owe me. I said, no, yes, I do. You just forgot about it. And he's going to get the money, right? Deep down, I genuinely don't like to fuck people over. Like, I genuinely don't. I don't even like going out to eat at restaurants. Like, unless I'm just, like, really hungry or something like that. I don't even like, I don't find pleasure in other people bringing my food. I don't find pleasure in other people cleaning off my table. I will, if I go out to a restaurant, I will clean my own table off. Right? I genuinely do not like that feeling. Now, if I'm just out and I'm hungry and I need to get something to eat or whatever, yeah, of course I'll go get something then. But there's nothing pleasurable in that. But what I do find pleasurable is when I hear these people, when I watch them and hear them talk, and they're just so vulnerable and, like, I don't want to use the wrong words because I don't feel like I could even explain what I'm hearing, but I genuinely love it. I seriously love it. But yeah, this dude has got in trouble. Yeah, because she was on Smallville. She played Chloe on Smallville. Can you guys see that? Yeah, she played Chloe on Smallville. What are your thoughts on Tom Sotomayor? I gotta Google that. I'm really bad with names. Tom's. Maybe I spelled it wrong, but American radio talk shows. You do first. I have no idea who this is. I've seen his face, but I don't know. I've seen the guy. I've seen his face. His face looks familiar, but I don't know who this is. If you ever watch an interview between Allison and Keith, the way she looks at him, you think her soul belonged to him. Yeah, Anansi. Yeah. It's those, like, weird. Like, I genuinely like these. Now, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Based off of the definition of a cult leader and all this shit, like, technically, I do fit. The definition of a cult leader. And here's the thing. With my I'm pretty much a cult leader for my girl, for my woman, right? Because it's little things, the little areas that always kind of like tick and click off, like I'm a cult leader to her. So here's the thing: one big thing of what a cult leader kind of gets out of people is that they seem to forget that that person is a human, right? Completely. That they're human, that maybe they just want to be left alone, whatever the fuck. Like, in a certain context, that definitely totally fits. Like, say for example, like a church pastor or shit like this. Like, people forget that like a church pastor. I told my dad years ago. I think churches, by definition, a church pastor is a cult leader. The only difference The only difference is if you go and do research on the differences that I found on it, the differences of what of a religious leader and a cult leader is. Let's say a Christian pastor and just a definition of a flat out cult leader is the cult leader has you do, relatively speaking, abnormal things as assignments directly governed by them, whereas a church pastor puts it the church pastor himself doesn't tell you, but this magical book does tell you to do it. That's the only difference. That's the only difference. That's it. It's where the relatively speaking, abnormal actions are coming from. Why you sit in a church and you gonna eat a cracker and some grape juice and pretend it's Jesus' blood and and bones and shit or whatever the fuck. Like, that's ridiculous shit, right? That is cult leadership. But the only reason why it technically does not fit cult leader is because the pastor himself did not say, I want you to do this. God and motherfuckers who follow God want you to do it. That's the separation. That's it. And it's really wild. Yeah. I use a bathroom. I'm gonna put it on the trailer real fast. I'm just gonna go to the bathroom and I'll be right back. Yeah, I'm back. So one thing I was just thinking about now was the concept of a Satanist, right? Because I remember I met a dude who claimed he was a Satanist. And here's the thing, man. Like, I think if anybody here's my opinion on Satanist is anybody who's walking around talking about they're Satanist and they dressed a little funny, they're doing it for shock value. You're not a Satanist, right? If they're wearing all black and got piercings and all this shit like that, and they're saying they're a Satanist, no, they're not a Satanist. They're not a Satanist at all, in my opinion. I don't think that doesn't fit. I think they're Satanists for shock value, to find identity. I'm not a Satanist. I think the Satanic Bible was pretty cool, and I could definitely understand how it can be twisted into killing babies and raping. I can understand how a certain mind could twist it into that, but I thought the Satanic Bible was cool. I mean, it was only written, I think it was like 1970, 1975, something like that. But I thought the Satanic Bible was cool. Well, let's start this. But again, I'm not a Satanist at all. I just read the Bible. the Satanic Bible. But yeah, let's start this.
Hello, I'm Laurel House. I'm a celebrity dating and relationship expert. You might recognize me from MTV or E's Famously Single. Are you dating or in a relationship? Well, here's what you want. Someone who doesn't complete or compete with you. You complement each other. You're both on pedestals and holding hands in between. Sometimes you feel weak and their strengths support you. Sometimes they feel weak and your strengths support them. And when that happens, you don't look down on one another. You don't ridicule the other. You don't lose faith or respect. You complement each other. Sometimes you're shining and sometimes they are. And then other times you both are shining and there's no competition. You're on the same team with the same goal, which sometimes means giving the ball to the other in order to get the better shot. And other times it means that you're going to run with it and they're going to cheer you on all the way. A healthy relationship is a complementary relationship, and that starts with dating. If you're single, look for the signs in your first few dates. Do they always need more, compete with you, cut you down, cut you off, or attempt to complete you? Or do they honor you for who you are, and you honor them too? And you come together as two fully formed individuals who complement each other, and despite your lives being complete and interesting on your own, somehow you're better together. And that's what you want. And more than that, that's what you need. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please like it and please subscribe to my channel. It will mean so much to me if you do. If you want to learn more about me and possibly work with me, then go to my website, laurelhouse.com. You can also get immediate one-on-one from me advice if you download the app instantgo.com/datinglaurel. You can follow me on Instagram at Laurel House and on Facebook or Twitter at Dating Laurel. Thank you, and I hope to see you again soon. Hello, I'm Laurel House. I'm a celebrity dating and relationship coach. You might recognize me from MTV or E's Famously Single. Let's talk about chemistry. Your pulse starts to race, your face is flushed, your nerves stand on end, and you swear a magnetic pull to their lips from the moment you shake their hand, make eye contact, or even just from the second you see them. When you kiss, it feels like you're taking a drug. You're dizzy, almost high. Your chemistry is off the charts. But on a first date, that might not actually be a good thing. Chemistry is that feeling that many people mistake as in love, but it's actually a rush of self-made drugs, chemicals. I know, as intoxicating and tempting as it may be, the problem with chemistry is that you can feel gravitationally pulled to the wrong person. In fact, chemistry triggers the brain in the same location as cocaine. It's a drug. It also triggers a similar physical reaction, the feeling of angst, sweaty palms, nervousness, a racing heart, crazy obsessive thoughts. And it's supposed to be a good thing. Then the drugs wear off, and these two people suddenly wake up, look at each other, and realize, I don't know you. And what I do know, I don't like. There's a difference between chemistry and intimacy. Intimacy is love, and it develops and grows over time and with honesty. It also endures. It's formed on a deeply rooted foundation of trust, understanding, and authenticity. Intimacy is commitment, the commitment to being committed. That's not to say you can't have both. You can develop that intimacy quickly. You can create that foundation by being open, honest, confidently vulnerable, by having clarity around who you are and who you guys are. And you get that through communication. And with communication and clarity, you have confidence in who you are and who you guys are as a couple. And you have that depth, you have that real foundational relationship, that respect, admiration, adoration, consistency, expectation. You are inspired by each other because you truly, truly know each other. You trust each other. You don't just trust them with information, you trust them with you. You trust them with your heart. That is intimacy. And you can also have the chemistry. You can have that excitement. You can have the amazingness. You can feel that chemistry towards someone because of who they are. You can feel that rush, that heat, that I want you because of who they are as a person and how they make you feel in many other ways, not just because they're hot. because of the superficial, or because of that chemical rush that happens in your brain that is fake, the drug-like sensation. You can have a lasting chemistry, a lasting attraction by being attracted to, honoring, appreciating, loving all of the many other amazing things about who they are and who you guys are as a couple. I know it's confusing and it's a lot, and of course we all want chemistry with the person we're with, and we should have it. And there's more to relationships than just that rush. There's also the calm. And the calm is what comes from the foundational intimacy. Please like this video if you like it, and subscribe to my channel. You can learn more about me on my website, laurelhouse.com. You can also get immediate one-on-one coaching if you download the app instantgo.com/datinglaurel. You can follow me on Instagram at Laurel House, and Twitter and Facebook at Dating Laurel. I hope to see you again soon.
Okay. I see the audience that she's chasing after. This okay, okay. This is she's older, so she's okay. The only women who have problems finding men and all this shit like that, the only women who have serious problems finding men are going to be older women. It's not going to be women who are 18, between 18 to 20, 28, right? She's hunting down older bitches. They got $800 to spare, right? Here's, in my opinion, any pickup artist, dating coach shit, anybody who's marketing themselves as a pickup artist and dating coach is selling a creative imagination. They can't sell you results because there's no humanly possible way for them to know exactly what's going to work with that exact next human being. And I've always been open about my opinion on dating coaches, pickup artists. It's bullshit. It's all bullshit. I would put dating coaches and pickup artists. I would put both of them probably about 2 steps lower than a therapist and a psychologist, and that's the field I work in, right? But okay, the reason why I don't work for like any type of like actual place and I just do it independently is because I don't have to play along with the typical bullshit games that they'll tell you, right? This is hunting lonely people to sell hope. This is selling hope to lonely people with money. Selling this whole imagination of okay, you created this dream man or woman just by listening to this bitch talk for 3 minutes, right? That's all that whole talk was just imagination. It was imagination land, like on South Park with Optimus Prime. Optimus Prime should have just been in that motherfucker too, right? It was imagination land, right? I mean, yeah, I hope she does well. I'm sure she's doing well. Not particularly because she's probably doing a great job in actually coaching women through dating, but because she has a good look for the role. That's what's going to do 95% of her selling. And then the last 5% is she can at least speak consistently, consistently at a certain, tone and pace that's entertaining. Right. But ultimately, there's nothing to sell, especially to a woman. Maybe a little bit to a man, but nothing to a woman to sell. There's nothing to actually sell in terms of applying what they learn by listening to her talk and then going off in the world and getting results. There's nothing there, especially as a woman. Right? Because what does a woman need to find a relationship? She's got to walk out there and just be a woman. That's it. And somebody's going to come approach her. And she's just not getting the men that she wants or whatever. All that plays into it. But ultimately speaking, a woman doesn't have to do anything find a relationship. I guess she's trying to force the whole like, oh well, you got to find your one who when you kiss them it's like electricity and all that shit like that. That does happen, but that's so fucking rare. You're never gonna count on the moment of that happening. I had to happen one time where I kissed a girl. It was the girl I used to work with, and I remember kissing her, and it legitimately felt like electricity went through my lips. It happened once. One time. But this is that love novel, lonely bitch love novel with a glass of wine and ice cream and 3 cats. That's who's gonna fall for this shit. Jamelia Musa Yava Yava. Yeah, because at least Jamelia Musa Yava Yava was like, at least she just doubled down on the fact that, look, she's trying to, like, get, with motherfuckers hanging out in Monaco. Like, she just owned it, like, at that point. Right? And that's why, I have more respect for her, too. I have respect for Jamelia Musa Yava Yava, because at least she showed clear signs on some level that she has made it, or she can look like that she's made it into the right rooms with the right men, right, that she's looking for. She looks the part, talks the part, and has the clothing. All of that is. Let's look up. What's her name? Jamelia Musa Yava Yava. What's her name? Jamelia. I'm probably butchering this name, but how the fuck do you spell this shit? Musayeva. She at least looks the part better. Yeah, she's foreign. She's from a country that probably ain't the best tightened up. You know what I mean? And she done fucked around and trickled into this. She fits the part much better, for sure. She definitely does. I got more respect for her, and she's actually teaching dining etiquette. And let's see what this is. The British Protocol Academy. Wine glass. There you go. Wine glass. I think she's a good-looking girl. Well, wine glass. I hate wine. I hate when bitches hold wine glasses for pictures. I fucking hate that shit, dude. That is usually a clear sign that there's not that's just a cliche, like, way to just get motherfuckers to just believe that you might be intelligent, kind of thing. Wine glass. Feeling intelligent? Got to take a picture? Just hold a wine glass. That's all you got to do. Have your hair straight, put on some makeup, and hold a wine glass. That ought to trick them. She got a black dude bagging her too, organizer. Well, yeah, and that's where I was gonna go next with the Jamelia Musa Yava Yavas and them Kardashian girls. See the reality, and now this is something that she would only admit to if we was hanging out together, right? See the reason why them Kardashians is the way they are, right? And these Jamelia Musa Yava Yavas, see, they know how that Westerner world really sees them. So they don't feel comfortable a lot of times in them higher rooms that it just be like let's just call a spade a spade. They don't, a lot of times they not gonna feel, okay, either they gonna feel overly comfortable where they'll drink the piss off the floor, or they not gonna touch it. Rooms with like the richer, higher class white people, they don't like them, like because they know they don't fit in with them. So a lot of times they will go out and fuck with a black dude. Because it's that common thing of like, yeah, we're both seen as lesser because we're either from poor countries or we're brown, one of those kind of things, or maybe not poor country, but it's like maybe not like a reputable country in the world type of shit. So we have that in common, kind of thing. And same thing with the Kardashian girl, with them Kardashians, same thing. I've always said this. I very highly doubt you'll see a Kardashian stay too long with any white dude because they're not gonna feel comfortable over there with them. They're not gonna. It just is what it is. It's because of how the world is. they're not gonna feel comfortable. And I say Jamelia Musia, she's up in that boat. She'll probably fuck with one because one of these Prince of England's want to fuck her type. She'll fuck with him, but she'll never feel comfortable because she knows she don't really belong with him like that because of the world hierarchy, how that plays out. But yeah, with that being said, though, I still do have a lot more respect for Jamelia. She's got the part, or she's a mama too. Let's look at this. She got 2 kids. Well, and this was some real shit. Her first point, how I managed to stay in shape as a mother of 2. Number 1, genetics. That's real shit. She didn't try to sell some bullshit of, oh, you got to eat exactly 3 rice cakes between the hours of 8 and 9 a.m., then have a slice of fruit. She's not selling that bullshit Instagram. She was flat out raw. This is genetics. Recognize influence genetics one's of vital importance now. With our upbringing, my parents played a critical role in eating habits and metabolism. Is how you say Azerbaijan? I always butcher those names. Limit sweet. This is what I say too. Limit sweet. Yeah, if you limit the pops and juices, because you can drink more calories than you can eat them. You can drink a whole lot more sugar than you can eat. You got to cut that pops and juices out. Pops, juices, cut that shit out. Because you'll fuck around and drink 5 days worth of sugar, in 2 hours. If you don't watch it, you fucking go out there and drink you what? A 2 liter of Coke? And you didn't drink about a week's worth of sugar in a 2 liter. Let's look at it real fast, just to fact check it. Coca-Cola nutrition. Oh God, it's all gonna be in Czech. Shit. No, this is the U.S. So for, oh God. Let's just do this. 2 liter. I thought it was more than that. A 2 liter, 30. Well, no, this is no, this is definitely more than 140 calories. Let's look at the actual servings. This is gonna be per serving. So there's 6 servings in a 12 fluid and just okay. Wait, what the fuck? Sugars. There's 39 grams. Wait, there's 6 servings per container in a 12 fluid ounce bottle of pop. There's servings per container, 6. There's 39 grams. Oh no, there's 39 grams of sugar. Total sugar is 39 grams, included 39 grams added sugar. There's 78% of your daily intake of sugar in 1 serving of a 12 fluid ounce bottle of Coca-Cola. Let me go grab a bottle, because I'm kind of tired. Let me go grab a bottle just to make sure my math is mathing up real fast. I'm going to do this. I'm going to just be thorough about this shit. Hopefully my math is mathing, because I might be fucking up. But hang on. Was it liter? It's 6. How many ounces in a liter? I can't even think. Is it 12 ounces in a liter? One liter equals 33 fluid ounces. So a half liter. Okay. So a half liter of this. Wait, shit. 33, 12. Less than a half liter. Less than a half liter has 78. That's a day, one entire day's worth of sugar you should be having And you can drink that shit at a fucking restaurant, right? And you ain't even got dessert. You ain't had another meal. None of that, dude. Like you can seriously when it comes to like limiting sugar. She's right about this. Limit sweet beverages. You got the limit. You can drink up fucking a week's worth of sugar in a day, and seriously not even notice it. Completely not even notice it. But I agree with her on these points. Minimal alcohol consumptions and intuitive eating. Yeah, just don't eat breads and spaghetti all day. You be all right. Just don't eat a shitload of bread, a shitload of spaghetti. Don't eat a shitload of rice all the goddamn time, and you be all right. But it's the sugary drinks. Sugary drinks. I would say sugary drinks are probably the number one thing that usually take a lot of people out when it comes to obesity. A 2 liter bottle. There are 6 servings. There are 6 servings. Each serving contains about 38 grams of sugar. If you're drinking a whole 2 liter, that's 228 grams of sugar. Yeah, I think in a day you're supposed to have like 60 to 65, unless they upped it. A day's worth of sugar was like 60 to 65. I think it was 65 to 70. Hang on, let's look that up. Grams of sugar should person have per day? I can't see my eyes. Men should consume no more than 19 spoons, 36 grams of added sugar per day. For women, so no, okay, shit. I thought it was 65. Where was I getting 60 from? So the American Heart Association is saying 36 grams of sugar per day, of added sugar per day. Let's do this. Daily recommended. Because I'm pretty sure it was 65. 62 and 65. Oh, well, let's go with this. Everybody's saying 37. Maybe I was off. Here, so yeah, here, just saying 68 grams. This is eating well. Because I could have swore it was between 60 and 70. But either way, the point still stands. Yeah, I've always said that you got to cut down on sugar. I say eating sugar, you'd be safer eating it than drinking it, because you could just drink a pop in a 2 liter, in a day. If it was just you and that pop sitting there, kind of thing, you can clean it off in a day. He also have videos about Jan from The Office or classic. Oh, Jan. Yeah, that's sad too, man, because Michael Scott really liked her. Well, who wouldn't have really liked her in that show? Azerbaijan. Joe Rogan was speaking about how high-end escorts on his podcast a few weeks back. Jamelia looks like them. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if I wouldn't be surprised if she had done it, or she knows women who've done it. Just be a high-end escort. She can pull that. And the crazy thing is, like, women from like them parts of the world, or even like a lot of European girls, like, oh, if they go to America, dude, they can easily get guys to throw them $8,000-9,000, especially when you talk about when they go to New York City and they find a way to get them in the country. Look, them girls be making out, dude. The way that high end escort, you could go higher than that, but just that's like high end for most of the population. To spend thousands for like a woman for 6 hours, that's just not attainable for most of the population, statistically speaking. But yeah, those girls, like these European whores and these brothels, oh, they fly to when they go to other countries. Oh man, like to the West, they clean. Them bitches clean up. I knew a girl who was a hooker, and she went to New York City just to hook, and she stayed there for weeks before she came back. And she was just hooked. She had no money, went to New York City from Ohio, and just sucked dick the whole time. Right? And she could survive like that. But yeah, but back to this girl, Laurel. Like that. This is cult. Okay, now going back to the cult leader shit. Another big thing, and I did this intentionally on my channel too because I didn't want to be a cult leader. But in order to be a cult leader, you have to put the main focus into something of an imagination, right? Now, I'm not saying you can't amass a. Let me turn this light on. It's getting dark. Not to say that you can't. I mean, some people do just randomly get lucky and accidentally just come into creating a massive following just because they're just likable or something like that. It happens, but it's very rare. Very relatively speaking, it's very rare. But if you were to weaponize it, how you weaponize getting a following is you can never ever bring too much independent attention on you as one. You have to put it into an idea, right? And I got into a conversation with a guy. He actually lives in this building. He's from America. He's from California, and he didn't agree with me. But I said, yeah, technically speaking, the concept, let's say like Tesla, any work, any job, the vast majority, okay, any job is in theory a cult due to the fact that, and he didn't agree with me, which I'm totally fine. He didn't agree with me, but because to meet another requirement of a cult, again, you cannot put too much into it just being you. At some point, it had like in order to keep followers and to keep them there, you have to keep their attention on something else, and you're just the conduit. Is that the right word? The conduit. You're the intermediary between the two, like a person who speaks to the dead, something like that. Like because if someone were to focus on, let's say like Miss Cleo, that's showing my age. If someone were to focus on like Miss Cleo too hard, well, it would just like it would be a matter of time before they wouldn't agree with her, or she was a bad person, whatever. Or like Mother Teresa, whatever. If as soon as anybody focuses on that one person too long, you'll find faults in them far quicker and leave. But if that one person, the leader, puts your attention into imagination land, well, now they can all you essentially what the reality of the crowd is doing. They're using the cult leader as the intermediary to imagination, right? And in a way, like maybe some philosophical imagination, enlightenment, right? But that's the bridge, and that's why I did the exact opposite. 'Cause I did not want to be a cult leader. That's why I made it all about me. That was done intentionally, right? That wasn't on accident. Um, but yeah, so with her, she's essentially doing the same thing. When she's talking, there's nothing that she's really going to say that is really coming back down to fact that would lead you to go, I need to hear more of her talk. The only reason you would want to hear her talk more is because she looks good for her position and she knows how to get you emotionally riled up into imaginary bullshit, right? This is seriously, and again, I'm only saying this from facts, so this is not slander. I don't know if she intended on this or not, but this is literally the makings of a cult leader right here. Not the makings. These are the characteristics of a cult leader. Because she's never really going into me. I have a family. I have kids. I do this. I do that. She's not doing that. It's going into, yeah, imagine you could have 3 houses, a yacht, and a boat. Does it sound familiar? Imagine if you come sell these knives, you don't have to work that much, and you can go live on a boat and do this and have 5 cars. Cult leader shit. That's a cult. If you just sell this prepaid legal, you don't have to work, and you sell it, and you become an associate, and next thing you know, you have a house and a yacht. It's cult shit. Cutco knives. That these are cults, right? These are at this point these are engineered. All right, I don't even think things like Cutco, these electric bill company places. I don't even think these are accidental. I think this is done intentionally. These people went off and studied how to keep cults going, and that's how you do it. You have to keep them focused on something else and not on actually you, right? That's how you keep it going. Because once they start to hone in on you, now it's a matter of time before they see, oh, your nose is too big, or your eyes a little crooked, or you got a crow's feet coming in. Well, they say you guys got crow's feet. They kind of lie sometimes, and then it just crumbles. So you have to keep them diverted somewhere else, right? Yeah, cult leadership, cult leader. I don't know if she did this intentionally. Um, I don't even know if she's successful at it because it doesn't. You don't have to be successful even if you know the formula. But this is definitely trickling into cult leadership for sure. Because here's the thing: if I was okay, so here's the thing for like let's say for a red pill channel to fit also other areas you want to do to fit being a good cult leader, you got to be charismatic. You had to have some type of charisma, swagger about yourself that's shows that you're clearly going down just like your own different type of path in life, like Charlie Manson's, these kind of guys. Even if you follow God or anything like that, you still have to walk and talk differently from the rest of the crowd. Because if you don't, you're gonna be too much like them. So you gotta veer, you gotta be a little mentally off and all that shit and maintain it, right? It's the only way a leader can really stay a leader of anything. You have to be. You can't walk and talk, eat with them, sleep with them. You can't, because once you do, now you become a human. So and then this is how in the worlds of being leaders of anything, it's either you could be a leader and you can't be human, or you could be a human but you can't be a leader. You usually have to pick one. You can't be both, right? And so when it comes to getting like a spouse, right? Like I said, I think to my girlfriend, I think I've trickled into being a cult leader for her because she doesn't see that I'm a human, right? I don't think she really sees it. She doesn't really understand that I am a human. I think she understands that at some points that I can be kind of human, but I don't think that she really sees me as human, right? But she has that Allison Mack, loyalty, right? She has that. She has that just, come over. If I don't call her, now she's coming over and, sneaking in to see if I'm all right, if I don't answer the phone and all. She's gotten to that point. And I didn't want her to get to that point, but it ended up and it went down that path anyway. But yeah, that's what sucks about being a leader. And then if you're a leader, if something goes wrong, it's your fault. If something goes right, it's your fault, right? That's the other part of being a leader that fucking sucks. So the easiest way most people usually do is just go be a pastor. That way you can just blame it on God. Anything you fucked up, well, God didn't have it in the cards today. You just blame God for everything. I think becoming a pastor is probably the easiest route. Becoming any kind of a pastor, whether it's a formal pastor or informal pastor, doing anything in that world is probably about the easiest way to go about doing it. Because you go that Kyle Ranier's way or these Jim Jones guys. Well, Jim Jones was involved in the church, if I'm not mistaken. He was the one who had him drink the Kool-Aid and shot the syringes down babies' mouths who couldn't drink from cups to kill themselves. Because I think, was it Jim Jones? He wouldn't help. A lot of his followings were African Americans because the African Americans were beat up at the time financially, and so they needed something to believe. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was Jim Jones. It was a massacre. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, the Jonestown massacre. Yeah, I'm pretty sure most of his followings were African Americans because they were just so beaten down they needed something to believe in, and he was there. Here it is. But African, yeah, yeah. There it is, right there. He began to, yeah. It was support for comment. Oh yeah. Hang on. Let me just make sure I know. Well, you guys can see what I just did. Yeah. He supported communism. Blah blah blah. Yeah, because he was he went down and picked up all the people who were just beaten down, which at that time was mostly going to be minorities who would have who would have followed him that hard. Yeah. The audio is pretty dark. Is my audio or is like something else you talking about? I gotta hear myself. No. Selling the illusion to the masses, just like religion. Yeah. But yeah. So like with the red pill thing, like okay, here's the thing. And so I'm thinking now about like a guy like Andrew Tate. Like, what would Andrew Tate really classify as? Because he is pushing like improvement, and he does tick off a lot of boxes, like being charismatic, being charismatic, being successful, all that. A lot of that does definitely tick off the traits for it. And on top of that, I think he had like a group of guys who would come and spend like $5,000 to figure out how to be better men. So like, I think that would technically classify as being a cult leader by either severely altering your life or taking on a severe or taking on an abnormal action either with them or without them kind of thing, and then having it on a ritual, like on a chronic ritual basis kind of thing. And that was an area that I did kind of like get sensitive about, the chronic ritual, because for me, doing this live stream usually every like Wednesday or Thursday or something like that, that habit is creating cult like shit. That's creating a habit. So there was many ways where I would try to like I specifically did give it a lot of thought, and like pretty much like deactivate that or any possibility of that happening. But yeah, the audio when they committed suicide. Oh, okay. But yeah, I'm gonna get out here. It's 9. Let me check back some of these comments. So, oh, D, I missed this comment. I just told a boss at a different department of my job wants to hire me, and the progress of being transferred. My managers are now all of a sudden I'm a bad worker with a high productivity. Word. Can you do another video too? Oh, the comedy. So I'm gonna get out here in a minute, man, because I can barely even keep my eyes open. But yeah. Yeah, I think I was listening to a Joe Rogan podcast where they were talking to the guys, to Leah Remini. What's the shit Leah Remini was in? It was that one. It was another one where the L. Ron Hubbard, the guy who's running the L. Ron Hubbard shit, the new guy. He had his own dad in the cult, and his dad was beaten down, and he said the only way he even figured out the father, he figured out how to, he didn't even know the world existed until he got, like, I think he got a tablet, and the department who gave the tablets to people in their cult, they forgot to disable the internet on his, and he got on it and actually found, and he started actually becoming educated, and escaped with, like, I think he had like $80 in his pocket when he did it. And he was an older guy too. But that's just wild, man. Like, just how, I don't want to say like gullible, because I feel like that's a violent word in this context, but just how people can just follow shit, right? Like, I can understand, like, for example, was that Boko Haram shit? Like, theoretically, I don't know, I can't speak a lot on it in depth, but theoretically, that Boko Haram in the Middle East, and how they, at least how they try to tell Americans what's happening with it, is and I might fuck this up, but how I understand it is pretty much these areas that have a low education, more extremes of poverties are going to be more higher susceptible to people who are willing to just follow shit, right? For one reason or another. Now, also another thing I did read. Now I don't know how true this is, but I did read this in it's one of them books over there talking about is going on about why the Middle East is supposedly like so fucked up in these areas like that, and it was saying how like supposedly in their prisons they don't separate based as much on severity of crimes like we do in North America, like, and that's done for supposedly. Again, I'm only just telling this from the filtered North American perspective, right? So theoretically, in North America, since we separate offenders based off extremes and and how they are in life, that keeps down a lot of later issues in development. What I have read, it said like, so examples like in the Middle East or in the parts of Africa that's suffering with that whole Boko Haram shit, um, probably some other shit. Um, um, yeah, if you mix in low educated people with people who are going to twist Muslim faith and belief, they're uneducated and they're going to twist it, and then you have more extremes of poverty given given the context of the area, shit like that. Those populations are going to trust and believe much quicker and much easier because they're just trying to get some food at this point. They just trying to get some guaranteed, they're trying to get a better life, anything like that, right? And then on top of that is the goal for, I would say this, the goal for the leaders in the theory that the running theory that I've come to, the goal of the leaders is to get the kids in trouble, to put them in a prison, right? Because theoretically speaking, their prisons don't separate based off severity. So they're going to go to prison. They're going to be fucked up. They're going to be desperate. They're going to be hungry. And they're going to have to team up with some group of people to survive. And guess what those group of people are going to be on? Right? So now, if anything, so a big disconnecting factor from North America and why North America doesn't know how to, like, from North America's perspective, help the Middle East is because by locking them up, you just make them stronger. Because they're just gonna coagulate into bands, kill off the weak ones, breed out the weaker ones, and just become stronger, bigger, harder, and faster. And you can't wipe that out. You just can't, unless you go in there and just, you can't in a politically correct way go in there and fix it. You would have America, based off of what's been fed to me in America, North America would have to go in there and just like demolish it all and say, look, this is our shit now, follow us. And America can't do that. America can't do that and get away with it, right? But yeah. Because there's definitely little areas that pop up in North America like that, but North America is not a hotbed for that shit at all. North America, because North America just has too many options. It just has too many, people ain't nobody in America is doing. I mean, people are struggling in North America, but nobody's doing like the lowest of the low in North America is just starting to get to the perspective of like a true low in the world kind of thing. Because at the end of the day, an American. Here's the thing: at the end of the day, a North American, let's say a Western European or a European compared to like a poorer place on Earth, or let's say like a Japanese person. I'm just gonna talk shit because I don't know much about Japan, but I would assume it'd be the same thing. These types of people, no matter how poor they get, how broke they get, they can still sit back and go, well, at least I'm American, and there's some hope. Hopefully, there's some hope, right? See that hope for a better day, even if you don't think a better day is coming, like deep down, there's a better day coming. Like if you're in a richer country, like at some point, even if you be on the verge of killing yourself, something like that, you still know, like, I'm still in this country. right? There's still a decent way I have to get out, right? But you get to these poor motherfuckers that just have no hope. See, that's a whole, when you ain't got hope, when you have no hope, that's a whole different ball game. When you truly believe, okay, here's the thing. When you truly believe you're going to die, that's a whole different thing of just knowing you can die, right? That's a whole nother area of thinking. But yeah, not because I got into Afghanistan. Well, I got into Afghanistan a long time ago because I had to because I'm from the U.S. and that whole 9/11 shit. But then so with that shit, because that area is interesting to me because how they can use mountains the way they do is just amazing. How they just use mountains for life, for life, or for the military, or their military purposes, to be able to see shit, to hide out in mountains is just, I think that's beautiful. I think that's incredible, right? I'm a big fan of that shit. And it got into, I'm thinking of one book I got right now. It should be over here somewhere. Let me see if I can find it. It's over here somewhere. Here it is, right here. This is, yeah, this one. And actually goes, yeah, I think this is all right. It's all right. It's all right. I think the cover is trying to like scare you more about it, but if you actually read it, it's not like, I don't think it's the worst. I think it's pretty good. But again, since America has the whole 9/11 thing, I think it's like that immediate thing to be just afraid of anything that says ISIS on it, so like trigger emotions to get you to be like, oh shit, kind of thing. But yeah, it's not. It's definitely not like it's not an entertaining book. It's just like a it definitely goes more into the history of where that I forget what Al Qaeda even means now, what it translates into. It mean like for peace or some shit like that? I can't remember, for the fight. I can't even remember, man. It's been so long, and that's my problem. That's why I don't talk about that area much, because I can never keep it, unless I'm reading about it at the time. I can never keep it properly organized or defined at all. So that's why I just never talk about it much. I forget what the fuck does Al Qaeda. I used to know what all that shit stood for. I can't think of what it stands for anymore. But yeah, I'm gonna get out of here, man. It's 9:14. See, did I miss anything? Let's listen to this one more. Let's listen to one more of this girl talk. It's gonna be the same shit, but let's play it one more time.
Are heartbroken. You're sad. You feel empty. Is it really them that you're missing? I'm Laurel House. I'm a celebrity dating, empowerment, and breakup expert. You may recognize me from E's Famously Single or MTV. And this is a question that I get a lot from my private dating clients. And I ask them to think about, was it them that you loved? Is it them who you miss? Or is it you? Is it who you were with them? Is it what they brought out of you? Because the good news is that's still in you. That happy, excited, driven, motivated, calm, loving, nurturing, spontaneous, adventurous, whatever it was, you, still there. Yeah, they brought it out. Thank you for bringing that out of me. Thank you for reminding me that that's who I am. And now I can bring that to life on my own and bring that to the table to maybe another relationship. Think about what characteristics, attitude, personalities come out of you with various different people. You're probably different with every single person in your life, with different relationships, with a boyfriend or girlfriend, with your parents, with your friends, with your siblings, with your children, with your clients, with your bosses, with your whoever. You are different. They are bringing out a different side of who you are. You might really love them. Do you love them, or do you love you with them? Do you love who you are because of them? Do you love what they bring out of you and illuminate in you? I mean, think about your children. I know for me, I have an almost 3-year-old son, and I'm a different person with him. I speak in different voices. I'm softer. I'm more nurturing. I'm a lot of different things that I'm not with other people. I love who I am as a mom. And I'm going to be different than I am when I'm dating or with my friends. Of course you love that person too. It's not just that you love who you are because of them or with them. I love my child. I love my husband. I love my parents. I love my friends. I love them and who they are as people, who they are as individuals. I honor where they've been, how far they've come, what they've gone through, who they are. But it's not just about them. It's about you. And it's essential that you acknowledge both. So if you're sitting here missing them, I want you to think about it, if it's really them you miss, or if it's you, if it's what they brought to life. And remember that you can be that again all the time if you choose to. Might be a little bit more difficult because they did bring it out of you and something about their personality that made that come to life. So find other avenues, find other people, find other things, find other outlets that allow you to be you again. And yes, there still will be some space without them. There are aspects of your relationship, the partnership, the togetherness, the not being alone that you sincerely do miss, and it's just about them, not you. And that you can find again. You will find again. But you need to heal you first. You need to fill that hole, and don't let that hole just sit there gaping because they're gone. Allow yourself to fill you with you. Be full of yourself and all of the greatness that you discovered because of them. All of the greatness that came out of you because of them. And once you're the fuller, best you, then get out there and meet someone new and see what amazing sides they're going to bring out of you too. Thank you so much for watching. Please like this video if you liked it and subscribe to my channel. You can work with me. I can help you get through this breakup because I know it's hard. I've been there. And I can help. Go to my website, laurelhouse.com, or just email me directly, laurel@laurelhouse.com. You can also follow me on Instagram @laurelhouse and Facebook and Twitter @datinglaurel. I hope to see you again soon. Hello, I'm Laurel House.
Let's look up Laurel House. I want to see her. I'm just curious to see her rates. Laurel House. Is this her? Oh no, this is some domestic violence shit. What's her name? Laurel House? Dating Laurel. What's this? Yeah, that's what. She have a website? I'm trying to find if she has a. Oh yeah, so she probably took off the. She probably took the website off because I remember looking it up before, and she was charged like some wild shit. Like it was like. It was some absolutely crazy. So it's probably she's probably just she probably took it off. The rates. Yeah, me. I know it's gonna be me. man whisperer. Man. Oh, yeah. I see it right there. It's going to let me go. Okay, it will. That's it. It said she slashed her rates from $400 to like $200 or something like that. Hang on. Here it is, right. I've slashed the price from $500 to $200. I mean, again, like, here's the thing. Oh wait, I clicked off of it. I hope that she does. I hope she does a good job selling whatever the fuck she's trying to sell. You guys see that? Yeah. I hope she does a good job selling whatever she has to sell. But again, with these feels like working as a therapist or a dating coach and all this shit like that, man. I don't even like the field most of the time, especially when it comes to like hearing other people talk and who supposedly work in the field, because again, most of what they're going to sell you is just hope. The vast majority, they're not going to really sell you anything to really go away and genuinely think about that you could not have come to the conclusion on your own, right? I think I would say out of every 100 cases that I've ever seen and witnessed in the professional world, out of every 100 cases, I would say at best 10%, 10 of them genuinely had some route of getting better after dealing with the person. At best. The others are just kind of coming there because either the counselor or therapist needs to fit a quota, or the person is like they don't have the courage to cancel, so they just too scared to cancel, so they just keep going or something like that. Right? Is very low. I'm not a fan of my own field, to be honest with you. I'm not even a fan of it. And she was charging $500. Jesus Christ. I mean, yeah, it's that thing. And she looks the role. She can get away with it. If she got in the right circles, she could ask for a lot more than that if she got in the right circles. She really could. There's guys who charge $8,000-9,000. Seriously, if you get in the right circles, you can do that, because people. Here's the strange part about life is that even though the strange part about life is there's so many people on earth, but so many people don't feel comfortable talking to other people because of one reason or another. And one way, the big way I got out of that was when I was doing a lot of traveling at one point. I was like always on a plane. I was always at an airport, always going somewhere, it felt like. And it finally clicked on me like, wait a minute, this airport is filled with people that I will never see again. So if anything, these are the people I should be the less scared to approach, talk to, ask questions, have a conversation, share things that I would be too afraid to just talk about with people in general. In my opinion, if you're looking for a therapist, or anything like that, and if you're flying, if you're traveling, I would recommend you go to places where you know you will never see these people again for the rest of your life. To me, that was the most liberating experience, was coming to that conclusion. I think airports should be the place where people should talk. I think airports, places like airports, these bus stations that go, internationally or whatever the fuck you want to call it. These are places where people should really do the most talking, because you never gonna see these people again. You can be telling them anything, and you can be like, oh, okay, bye, and never see that person again for the rest of your life, and get it all off your chest, whatever you had, make a fool out of yourself, whatever, and they gone. I think those would be the best places for that. I really do. I think the last thing anybody should have to do is spend $500 to talk to somebody. I think that's the last thing a motherfucker should do. There's way more to way. There's plenty of ways around that. One thing I have noticed is like as you get older, like here's one thing I've noticed, right? Definitely as you get older, loneliness comes in a lot more, right? For many reasons. One, you're just older, but two, your friends and family, they've got their own families, they got full time jobs, whatever. They're, so it can be hard to meet up with people, right? But here's the thing. In my life, right, I started off life. I was an only child in my household, right? One, and then two, when I went off to college, like I lived alone. I had always lived alone for the vast majority of the time period. So I was used. I'm completely used to being alone. Completely used to it. Doesn't bother me at all. I'm just, at some point I do kind of want to just like see somebody kind of thing, but for the most part, like I'm pretty good with being alone. I've lived in a small town and village where nobody speaks English, and it would just be me there alone, and walk down the street and not know anybody, can't talk to anybody, none of that, right? So I know what it's like to be like to generally be alone. Now I never, lived in a hole in a prison. I never had to go to to isolation in a prison. I haven't done something like that. I think now I do think that is a fear of mine to be like in isolation for like to be in complete isolation for like a complete extended period of time with no TV, no video games, no internet, nothing like that. Now that would fuck me up. But if I still have all that, yeah, I'm fine. But here's the thing. So my girlfriend, my spouse, whatever you want to call her, she always grew up with siblings. There was always somebody in the house with her, right? And it's always somebody walking. Like if I video call her right now, she's not here. If I video call her right now, I would guarantee you in the background somebody probably be walking behind her, right? And I find that horribly annoying because I didn't grow up like that, and when I moved out, I didn't live like that. So for her, like, she needs to hear back from me, kind of thing. Like she needs to hear me. She wants to hear all my thoughts and all this, and I'm like, I don't need any of it, right? And because we just in the loneliness for her, like I don't think she can handle loneliness well at all. Like she always has to be somewhere, do so. She's like my dad. Like they got to be out, and my dad's okay with loneliness, but they're the same. Like they both have to like leave the house at least once a day and all this shit like that. I don't have to do any of that. I'm totally fine indoors all day. But yeah, with me, I think I'll probably handle loneliness a bit better than most. But one thing that I find sad is that how loneliness can truly impact people, and I don't think I'll ever really understand it because I've already made my peace with it. But yeah, let me get out of here. It's 9:30. So I hope y'all have a good day, evening, night. And thank you for everybody who tuned in, like, subscribed, and I'll catch y'all later, man. Peace out.